about trophies, because I won some trophies. I really like to share with you how I felt. My children started to compete about 2 years ago, and I emphasized a lot in my previous video how important it is that children do compete. So they are actually learning something, and they are using what they have learned to evaluate what they have learned. Otherwise, you are really not being real about what you're learning. If you don't compete, you don't really know if the stuff you learn works. Let's put it that way. Now, when kids start competing, especially the first few times, I think still is. It's even until now, 2 years later, it's very important for children to bring some trophy home, a medal or some sort of recognition about their placing above other people. And when people ask them, they like to tell people they won gold and so on. And it's quite common. They do a lot of preparation. So people from church and school may ask, hey, how did you do? Did you win? These are very common questions, and they like to tell people, yep, I got second, I got third, I got first. My wife doesn't do any martial arts, so to her it's quite important. She wants to know my children won. Okay, let's look at this trophy thing, really what it is. I mean, in a small town, sometimes you can tell people you won bronze, but there were 3 people competing, So for adults to understand that it's important to pass this on to their children, compete, do your best, and I like you to win, do your best and win, but really if you win or not, doesn't matter. The competition I went to in June was a big one for me. I've competed so many times, but there were only a few that I acknowledge as an important event in my life. My first victory, and it was important. There was a fight when I entered men's open. I was 68 kilos, fighting somebody who was about 120 kilos. Got knocked out, completely knocked out. Got back up, continued, and won that fight. Those are memorable events. Recently, I have just applied to Karate New Zealand for a 4th degree black belt grading, and it is required to submit a CV with the application form, and the CV required me to write down histories of my karate. And when it comes to writing down my achievements, I had to write down, I don't really remember. I remember the competitions I won this year, 2018, and pretty much before that, I didn't keep a record. I guess this is value I got from my sensei, Dieter Steinegg, who probably have achieved more than any other karateka, any karate person in this country. He was German champion. He represented Germany. He was fighting, I think he was probably, if I got it correctly, 3rd in Europe. So he is a great fighter, but a lot of times he would tell us stories about fighting internationally, but he never really mentioned who won. If you ask him who won, he doesn't answer. So I think it's great. And recently the competition I won, which I like to share with you, is I haven't competed for a few years, and this time I decided to enter men's premier open, which means I'm competing with people half of my age, many of them in their prime. And I just wanted to compete. I didn't expect to win anything, but that day is a special day for it, because we have a lot of kids competing that day. So I was there just after 8, start coaching kids from 8 all the way until noon, coaching them while they are competing. And at noon we had 20 minutes break, but I was still sorting stuff out with the kids. We don't practice on the mats, so my feet is used to hardwood. That's where we practice. So I really struggle sometimes when I step on a soft spongy mat. My toes dig in, and sometimes I sprain my own toes. So I took my shoes off during the lunch break, step on the mat and do some kata, just to practice and get the feel of the forms. And 20 minutes lunch break isn't very long. And after I organized the kids, I went on the mat. Time is up. The kids are competing again. So I went back and coach. I didn't have time for grab a lunch. About 1:30 or 2, people come and tell me, you better get ready. You are up soon. So I got changed, put my kata gi on, and start competing. And I felt so hungry. My son was walking by with Subways. I said, can I have a bite? So I took one bite of his Subways. So the meal I had was about 7:30. one bite, and then I competed all day. I competed veteran category, both kumite and kata, and then I competed. After that, I competed in men's premier, and I won gold in men's premier. I'm a veteran, I won, but gold in men's premier kata. I was very happy about it. But then I thought, let's just go and fight, do my best in men's premier kumite, freestyle sparring with all the young kids. And I got second, and the person who beat me was Bunny. Bunny is current undefeated national champion, who pretty much trained all the time. Just come back from I think a few months of European tour training overseas, and so I'm pretty happy with that. So to me, this is the kind of stuff I remember. There are times when you go to a competition, sometimes you only fight 2 or 3 people, and let's put it this way. I won second, but if some other top players come down from Auckland, Brendan Runnings, or I saw this young guy, Angelo, also really fast, small but very fast. I don't know how I would do against him. So to me, I don't think number 2 silver medal in freestyle sparring is the way I evaluate myself, because it really depends on who is there on the day. There could be only 4 people, but all 3 of them are like the best of the best, and that's how competition works. However, it does make you feel pretty good winning. But what I'm saying is that don't let the medal or placement be the evaluation of how your children are doing. I think the most important thing is you learn from it, because competition is really about putting what you have got out there, so you can really see how well you have worked. Competition is about giving yourself a reason to work 5 times harder, because people tend to do that before the competitions, and if you don't, and also face your fear. Competition is extremely stressful. Extremely stressful. People who compete understand that. I mean, there are top fighters that compete in every competition and always win gold. I asked them, are you nervous before the fight? Yeah, they do. International fighters, they do. But they can handle that kind of pressure. So to me, that's what we get from it. Of course, most importantly, play safe. If the organization isn't providing a safe environment for you to compete, I'll run from it, because my wife said one thing to me. Look at us who don't exercise. We are nerds. And look at you people, athletes. Knee surgery here, hip replacement there, accident claim here, always injured. Your body's covered in pain and agony, and you boast yourself being an athlete. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm not out there to shorten my life. I'm there to do better, and that's what we aim to do. Martial arts, what it is, it's martial arts, so there's always risk involved. So I always emphasize on making sure you play safe. Like if my kids are practicing, mouth guard on, gloves on, it doesn't take much. I mean, if you punch somebody in the teeth, and if it's sinking 1 centimeter, that teeth is going to come out. It's that simple. So it's important that we're playing smart as well as playing hard. I hope this video is enjoyable and educational. If you like my video, please subscribe, click the little bell underneath so you get notified when I make my next video, and put your comments down below, because I do read them. And if there's questions you'd like me to answer you directly, go ahead and ask me. You want to share your stories, and the reason you're watching is because you're into this, and let me know how things are going with you. I love to read them. Until next time, train hard and play hard. See you.